Before I get started with this video, I just wanted to say that I've been practicing trying to talk to the camera more fluently. I can definitely talk to people and customers and things like that for business without a problem. Trying to talk to you guys on the camera, that is a little nerve-wracking, but I'm working on it. So sometimes I may say something dumb and then not realize it, and then I'll go to editing and be like, oh, why did I say that? So I'm working on it, and it's definitely tough, but practice makes perfect. Thanks. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I wanted to do an update on my third gen LS swapped Camaro, and kind of review what's going on with it and what I'm planning to do with it. And to start off with is I pulled the motor back out because I needed to update the oil pump. So as many of you know, the cross member is like quarter of an inch from the pan, so you're not taking that pan off unless you're pulling the motor out. So the reason why I'm pulling the motor out to do the oil pump is because I had loosened up the mains so I can run power outers and such. So I kind of ran this stock fuel pump, oil pump, thinking that that would hold up, but we're dropping down to like 15 psi of oil pressure, and wasn't quite comfortable with that. So I got myself a 10-295 pump, and I actually put a 10-296 in here, but I did a little research, and so I'm going to swap that out for a 10-295 because I am running the Holley 302-2 oil pump, which is 6.2 quarts of oil versus the stock 6 quart oil pan. But essentially what's happening is that if I run the high volume pump, it's going to suck that pan dry at wide open throttle. So from what I understand, right? So better play it safe than sorry. So I got the 10-295 pump. So I'm going to swap that out. I'm also going to upgrade my lifters and a couple other things. But I wanted to go over some things with these engine mounts, and also some things that I found with the clutch and the starter engagement. Things that needed to be addressed after you've done the build and you've driven it around for a couple hundred miles, right? So catching those loose fasteners, catching things that aren't worn properly, things that maybe didn't get installed within spec, things like that, right? So I'll show you some of the stuff that I got. So again, this was built and put in probably in 2022. I bought these in 2022, and it has less than 500 miles on it. I've only driven it around a handful of times, taken it to some car shows, went to the dyno once, and so if you take a look here, you can see, grab this, see how loose that is? And the same thing here. Well, I'll show you some pictures. Here we go. I mean, I don't think that that's supposed to be that loose in that short amount of time. So I reached out to UMI, and they were gracious enough to take a look at the information and pictures that I sent them, and they're sending out a brand new set. So they're taking care of me. That's awesome for them. I'm stoked about that. I mean, these slide right out too. So it's not like they're just slightly loose. They literally just, it's almost like they shrink, right? So, but in any case, yeah, so we're getting some new bushings. So, I mean, if you guys are using this, I would suggest, maybe taking a look at it, maybe popping one off, see if it's coming loose. Obviously, having this loose in the car with, 500 plus horsepower engine could be bouncing around. So especially if you're doing launches, or if you have a 6-speed manual like I am, and you're dropping down gears and also dropping down gears to downshift, but also accelerating, this thing is going to be bouncing back and forth. So anyways, that's one thing that I found. Before we get to the flywheel, I did want to show you the twin disc center force SST clutch that I am running, and that's this guy right here. It's, again, brand new, less than 500 miles on it. And you can see here, it's barely broken in. You see some heat spots, but it still has, you can still see the milling marks. So it's getting some heat, but I think I need to break it in some more, or, you know, just run it some more. Twin disc. And so that's the clutch that I'm running. So here's the flywheel. Again, it's still brand new. It does have these little heat marks here and there. May have done some hard launching. But in any case, so you can see here the flywheel on the teeth. You can see that it's kind of getting chewed up a little bit here. And I got some pictures I'll put up that are closer. But hopefully, I mean, I think that I caught this pretty early on before it actually started chewing the flywheel too much where I'd have to replace it. I mean, one thing I can do is I can pop this ring off and flip it over and use the side that hasn't been chewed up yet. So maybe we'll take a look at that. But I think I can clean this up, save it, and then pop it back in. Here's the starter that I was using. This is one of Speedway's house starter. And what I did, I just popped over there. I said, hey, I need a starter. I have an LY6 6-liter. I'm running the center force clutch, which, I mean, has the same tooth count of any LS motor. So they gave me this starter, which, I mean, after doing this build, I quickly just put the starter in because there's so much going on. I didn't really think that I needed to, you know, actually put this in and measure it and make sure it was good, which that's my fault. But hey, you know, we make mistakes. But the engagement of the pinion gear onto the ring as it's coming onto it is okay, but the distance between the pinion gear and the teeth here, I think, is too far. And unfortunately, the only way to get it closer is to actually mill this down, which I don't have a mill. So what I am going to do is I'm going to run this Power Master. So I went over there, I told them what was going on. They're actually very nice enough to say, hey, you know what, we can talk to the manager. I bought this 2 years ago, so, you know, I imagine it's out of warranty. It's also my fault for not checking to see the engagement was proper. And they were, you know, they were happy enough to, you know, say, hey, you want to talk to the manager? Maybe they can do something for you. I'm like, you know what, it's my fault. It's no big deal. Just hook me up with a Power Master. So I'm going to use this, which comes with shims in a different pinion. So we're going to try this out. It's actually not this one. It actually looks more like that one there. And so, well, no, actually, I don't even think it looks like that one. Where's the one that it looks like? You know what? I'm going to pop it out of the box. All right, so here it is out of the box. This is the Power Master 160. What is this? This is the 9109 Power Master for the LS engines. And it's actually much lighter, half the weight of this guy here. And this is, again, Speedway Motors in-house mini starter, which weighs, I think, 11 or 12 pounds. This thing weighs 6 pounds. I mean, this thing is light. And so it has a little bit of a smaller mounting block here. So, and it comes with shims. This does not come with shims. It doesn't come with shims, and it also doesn't come with the bolts. So I had to buy the bolts separately. But this one does come with the shims. It also comes with bolts, and then there's the shims, and then also it comes with a spacer for your depth. So if this is too deep, you put the spacer in between the body and the motor, and it'll bring the pinion in so that you can adjust your depth there. So we're going to try this one out. I'm going to set it appropriately while the engine's out of the car, and then also I'm going to clean this up just a little bit, just take a little file and take some of the sharp edges off, and then we're going to go with that. All right, so here is my flywheel, and these are the teeth right here. You can see clearly that the engagement is just not deep enough into the valley of those teeth, right? So you can see it's just nipping away at the tip of the tooth, and, you know, over time that nipping away will turn into the whole tooth missing, or that piece of the tooth missing. And so, you know, all I'm doing is I'm just hitting this like so, and like so, and that's it. And just kind of getting any of the sharp pieces that it kind of chipped off and kind of left on there. So now it's nice and smooth. And if you really step back, I mean, it doesn't look, the whole, I think the flywheel is still fine, and I caught it early enough where there isn't really anything too worrisome. But if I didn't catch it early enough, I'm sure this would have been a huge problem. And so, you know, we're gonna go with that. But if I do find that after I put it in with the proper engagement, I do find that there's problems or something like that, then I'll just have to replace the ring or the flywheel, pull the motor out. But hey, you know what? That's all part of the fun, right? So that's what's going on with this. So according to the documentation, what you want is a 20 thousandths to 35 thousandths clearance between the tooth and the pinion, the ring gear and the pinion gear. And according to YouTube University, that's about the equivalent to this paper clip. So I have a mock-up of what that's supposed to look like. So what you want to do is make sure that the paper clip fits right in here snugly, but loosely enough to come in and out on its own, not too loose. So I think that mine was slightly loose, and but again, I never had a chance to take a look at it. I mean, I might mock this up to see what it looks like, but just know that that's what they're looking for there for that clearance. So the other thing that I found is that when I took the transmission out, I noticed that this bolt right here, or this bolt hole right here, was stripped out. I mean, when I took it out, it was already loose, and I was like, why is that loose? So then I tightened it back up to see if I can get it to engage again, and it just kept spinning in the hole, and I pulled out most of the threads that are in here. And this is Holley's 302-2 oil pan, and it's aluminum. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. Most automatics don't even use these holes down here. So I don't think it's a huge deal. But, you know, my bell housing actually has the bolts that are the bottom of the bell housing connects down here. So it does have the bolts that go through here. So what I'll probably do is I actually got the helicoils. I'm going to put the helicoil inserts in here just to, you know, have it in there. But again, it's just another thing that happened when I did the build and I put it together. And people always say, hey, you know what? After a couple hundred miles, you should check all your bolts, check everything, make sure all your fasteners are tight. And, you know, I was like, all right, yeah, we should do it. After taking this apart, it's like, you really should do it, right? So finding things that are loose, prematurely wearing out because maybe they weren't set in properly, or like the starter, I didn't check the engagement on that. And, you know, if I kept running that after a couple thousand miles, that flywheel would probably be toast, right? So, you know, and then you'd be taking the motor out again. So that's what we got. You know, I have to take a little bit more time to address things like the starter and making sure that I set that in there appropriately and set it to spec. And, you know, other stuff that I'm sure I'll find as I continue to build this. Power adders. Yes, I plan on putting some power adders on there. And I still got to do paint and body. I still got to do interior. As you can see, I don't even have gauges because I'm running the Holley Terminator X, and right now I'm just using the little screen there for telemetry and my phone for the speedometer. And but it needs interior, it needs body work, and I do need to update that 10 bolt. I do have 4 10s running in there, all new bearings and everything, so it runs, but a little sketchy when you're trying to do launches on it. If you made it to this point of the video, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, comment down below, and let me know if you have any questions, or if you have any ideas or anything you want to tell me. Hit me up. All right, peace.